The world ended not with a bang, but a bite. A virus, they called it. Fast-spreading, uncontrollable. It ravaged cities, turning people into monsters. Hungry, relentless, dead. The news showed panicked crowds, overwhelmed hospitals, then silence. Only static remained where news anchors once spoke. The world outside our shelter door became a mystery, a nightmare we couldn't wake from. We sealed ourselves in when our neighbors turned. Heard them clawing at our door, their moans a chorus of death. We were safe for now. But for how long? The question echoed in the silence of our tomb. Our shelter, a concrete box beneath what was once my garden, became our world. 4 of us huddled within its cold, damp embrace. Myself, John, a former engineer, Sarah, a doctor, her calm demeanor a flickering candle in the dark. Then there was young Emily, her innocence lost somewhere in the chaos. And Mark, a survivalist, his eyes hardened, always watching, waiting. We were strangers united by fear, clinging to hope in the face of oblivion. The air hung heavy, thick with the stench of fear and sweat. Days blurred into nights, marked only by the dwindling supplies and the constant dread gnawing at our sanity. Outside, the world burned. Inside, our hope flickered. Sarah, ever the doctor, tried to maintain order, rationed our food, boiled water, tended to wounds both physical and emotional. But I saw the fear in her eyes, the tremor in her hands as she bandaged Emily's scraped knee. Emily, poor child, drew pictures of the sun, of trees, of a world she barely remembered, a world devoured by the undead. Mark, ever vigilant, patrolled our concrete cage. He checked the air vents, reinforced the steel door, his silence more unnerving than any scream. I, the engineer, tried to maintain the generator, our lifeline to the world above. The hum of its engine was a constant reassurance, a fragile barrier against the horrors that awaited us. But the fuel, it wouldn't last forever. We established rules, clung to them like a life raft in a stormy sea. No unnecessary noise, lights out after 8, rations carefully measured, every crumb, every drop of water precious. Conversation when it happened was hushed, strained. We spoke of families lost, of the life we once knew. Each story chipped away at our fragile hope, a constant reminder of what we had lost. The silence, when it came, was deafening. The silence of the grave that awaited us all. We ate, slept, and breathed fear. The world outside pressed in, a suffocating blanket of dread. Section 5, claustrophobia. The concrete walls seemed to shrink with each passing day. The air, stale and heavy, choked us. The silence, broken only by the drip of water from a leaky pipe, drove us to the brink. Sarah's calm facade began to crack. She snapped at Emily, her voice sharp, unfamiliar. Mark, always on edge, paced like a caged animal. His hand never strayed far from the hunting knife sheathed at his hip. I felt it too, the fear that gnawed at the edges of my sanity, the constant pressure, the uncertainty. We were trapped, not just by the concrete walls, but by the invisible bars of fear that held us captive. Section 6, the first transmission. Then, one day, a miracle. The radio, silent for weeks, crackled to life. A voice faint but clear cut through the static, a message of hope. Survivors, they said, a community rebuilding. We huddled around the small device, our faces illuminated by its faint glow. The voice spoke of a safe haven, miles to the north, a place free from the infected, a chance, however slim, for a future. Hope, like a phoenix, rose from the ashes of our despair. We clung to it, a lifeline in a sea of darkness. But the journey we knew would be fraught with danger. The infected lurked everywhere, their hunger insatiable. Section 7, a glimmer of hope. We argued, debated, weighed the risks, stay and face slow death in our concrete tomb, or leave and risk the horrors that awaited us outside. The choice was clear, yet the decision tore at us. Sarah, ever the pragmatist, argued for caution. We had shelter, dwindling supplies, a chance. Mark, driven by a primal need for freedom, pushed for immediate departure. He argued that time was our enemy, that the longer we stayed, the weaker we became. Emily, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope, looked to me. The decision ultimately fell to me, to lead or to condemn us all. The weight of their lives, their hopes, rested on my shoulders. Section 8. The decision. The radio crackled again. The voice, stronger now, urged us to come quickly. They had limited space, limited resources. We had to decide, now or never. Looking at their faces, etched with fear and hope, I knew we couldn't stay. We had to take the chance, however slim, to die fighting for a future rather than wither away in this concrete coffin. We leave at dawn, I said, my voice firm despite the tremor in my heart. And with those words, the silence of our tomb was broken, replaced by a flicker of hope, a spark of defiance in the face of oblivion. Section 9. Silence. Dawn broke, cold and gray. We emerged from our shelter, blinking against the harsh light. The world outside was a graveyard, a silent testament to the horrors that had unfolded. The radio, our only lifeline, lay silent. No voice greeted us, no guidance offered, only the echo of our own breaths in the stillness. We were alone, adrift in a sea of the undead. Hope, once so bright, flickered and died. Yet we had no choice but to move forward. Into the silence we ventured, our fate uncertain. The only sound, the crunch of our footsteps on the broken pavement, a symphony of survival in a world gone mad.